Hi, this is Nanette Hosenfeld with the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Thursday, August 27th, 2020. Taking a look at fire potential impacts over the next few days, we will see a few days of showers and thunderstorms across the Great Basin. Today we'll have the most widespread storms across the region. You can see the areas expected to be impacted by those storms with yellow dots today. Across western Wyoming, storms will trend mostly wet. And as we move into Friday, storm coverage decreases quite a bit. Storms will become much more isolated on Friday, mainly confined to northern Nevada and northwestern Utah on the Sierra Front, with wetter storms across southeastern Utah. And then moving into Saturday, with more dry air moving into the Great Basin, those storms will mainly be confined to the higher terrain of central and southern Utah and the Arizona Strip. We are looking at a few days of gusty winds across the Great Basin. This is a concern because we've had quite a bit of lightning lately, and so gusty winds with low relative humidity across the area is quite a concern after that lightning. So definitely something we'll be keeping our eye on into the weekend. And then some good news is that this weekend we will have a cold front that will bring much cooler weather to the area. However, we will see increased winds across the north with that cold front. Looking at the afternoon smoke forecast, looks like the worst visibility across the Great Basin this afternoon will be across Idaho. The upper level weather pattern is such that it's going to eject that smoke from the Northern California fires right into central and southern Idaho. Further south into the Great Basin, things are looking a little bit better, but across the far southern portion of the Great Basin, where you can see those oranges showing up on the map again, looking at some lower visibilities. Things look to improve a bit on Friday afternoon as flow shifts a little more to the north. Still looking at poor visibility across portions of Idaho and much decreased visibility across western Nevada tomorrow afternoon. So pretty significant decrease in visibility across western Nevada tomorrow. Over the past 24 hours, we've had quite a bit of precipitation. We had a good afternoon of thunderstorms yesterday. You can see that many of those storms were wet. We saw some pretty good precipitation amounts with those storms. The really impressive thing is the amount of lightning we saw. The image on the right is showing where the lightning occurred yesterday, and really just an impressive amount of lightning accompanied those storms yesterday. With that lightning yesterday, we did pick up a few new fires. A lot of activity up in the central Idaho mountains. Taking a look at observed precipitation over the past 7 days, we're finally starting to see some precipitation show up on this map. For a long time, it was just like a big block of red because the whole area was so far below normal. But that has begun to change. The northern part of the Great Basin has generally fared better than the southern half of the Great Basin. You can see some areas a little closer to normal across the north. If we look at ERCs, that's reflected in our point map here. There's been some good ERC recovery across the north. A lot of those have gone down from the 90th percentile into the 70th and 80th percentile categories. So that's good news up north. And also further, far southern part of the Great Basin, extreme southern part of the Great Basin has seen a recovery there. But there were just kind of this sandwiched in the middle is the portion of the area that hasn't really seen the precipitation that the north and the south has. And so we're looking at the highest ERCs across the Great Basin right now, kind of running from southwest to northeast through the middle part of the Great Basin. If we look at those ERC trends, these trend lines show the really rapid increase in ERCs and then how they've begun to come down across some areas, but still in record territory across west central Utah. Live field moistures are generally right around normal. This is sagebrush moisture, and generally across the Great Basin we're looking at pretty normal sagebrush moisture. Lowest sagebrush moisture across the southern part of the Great Basin. Satellite this morning shows high pressure in place across the Four Corners region. That's pushing moisture up into the area. And we also have a low pressure system moving through the Great Basin today that will give us the energy for afternoon showers and thunderstorms. Looking at today in more detail, we have a high risk out for gusty winds this afternoon. With that low pressure moving by to the north, we will see southwesterly winds pick up this afternoon across the areas that have a high risk in place. Looking at the forecast in more detail, again, this wind gust map on the left shows the areas that we are looking for gusty winds this afternoon. Again, generally in that 25 to 35 mile an hour range. There are some higher winds showing up further north, and that is likely related to expected thunderstorm activity this afternoon. The image on the right is showing our forecast relative humidity. We're looking at critical levels across the southern half of the Great Basin. The image on the right is showing expected precipitation today, and we are expecting pretty good storm coverage again across much of Idaho and down into far northern Utah and northwestern Nevada. Looking at Friday, we do have some dry air moving into the northern part of the Great Basin. On our significant fire potential map, a lot of the zones in Idaho have moved into the yellow category. After a couple of days of thunderstorms, we are looking at that change across the north. Looking at Friday in more detail, the winds expected on Friday are mainly across central and southern Nevada. We could see some gusty outflow winds near any thunderstorms that develop. Relative humidities will drop going into Friday with that drier air moving into the Great Basin. Precipitation totals are much less significant on Friday. We are expecting to see some isolated storms, but not a significant amount of precipitation. As we move into Saturday, continue to see that low pressure move by to the north. That will bring gusty winds across the central Idaho mountains and also portions of southeastern Nevada. It's quite concerning to see these gusty winds with low relative humidity after multiple days of lightning. So definitely something we'll be keeping our eyes on going into the weekend. Looking at the forecast for Saturday, relative humidities are expected to be near critical values across much of the Great Basin. And again, we do have that wind in the forecast, so definitely a concern, especially in areas that have had lightning. Over the next 3 days, the greatest area with potential for precipitation accumulation is across the northern part of the Great Basin. As we move into Sunday, that low pressure system deepens and moves a little to the east. We will see more widespread winds again across portions of the northern Great Basin on Sunday. And then moving into Monday, those winds shift to the east with that system. So we move into Tuesday, really looking at dry air enveloping the entire Great Basin. Looks like a much drier pattern. The good news is it will be under northerly flow, and so temperatures will be close to seasonal averages, if not just a little below. Moving into Wednesday, again, really similar setup, Tuesday and Wednesday across the Great Basin. Over the next 7 days, looking pretty good for precipitation accumulations. You can see towards the later part of the period, we are looking at the potential for some precipitation accumulation across the southeastern part of the Great Basin. Finally, in the 8 to 14 day outlook, the Climate Prediction Center is calling for above normal temperatures and below normal precipitation across much of the area. So it does look like we'll be moving back into a hot and dry pattern going into September. And that's it. If there are any questions, please feel free to contact us. Our information is on the screen, and you can also find us on Twitter. Thanks.